All right, and we're back. Quick commercial break. And we were talking to our friend Taquee here, and what we were kind of talking about was his name meaning
to fear the Lord.
to fear God. And that is deep. So talk to me a little bit about that. Do you fear God?
Definitely in respect of not like spookiness or fear like that, but like as I would give reverence to my father, a father that you respect, or fear to disappoint. You don't want to disappoint your father and things like that. So,
And you know that your father can punish you at the end of the day, right?
exactly.
So I think that that's where the fear comes from, is like, we fear our dad's hand or the belt or whatever it is, the father in the sky. To me, and that's why I always tell people, it's the worst fear to me, because it's a fear of like I said, the safety of my soul, the security of my soul. Like, this person has the chance to either give me eternal bliss or eternal damnation. And that's what I fear. I fear your choice. I fear the choices that I've made in life, that you're not going to be happy with them. And that's where I go to like God-approved decisions, showing people that like when I'm making a decision every day, if I make 1,000 decisions, that means that I'm counseling God 1,000 times. Because every decision that I'm making, I want to make sure that he or it is going to be okay with that decision that I made when I meet my maker. Because I always call it the big Santa Claus. Because I say, Santa Claus goes over your naughty or nice list at the end of every year. God goes over your naughty nice list at the end of your life.
Right.
Whenever he chooses to take it and
Sort of
take
like
you out of this physical world.
The balances of Ma'at.
Yes, very. I mean, that's pretty much what I use as the symbolism, I guess you would say, of when that day comes, and weighing your heart against a feather, and seeing if those decisions you made throughout that life you were thinking about God,
right,
or were you not thinking about God? Were you thinking about yourself? Or were you thinking about how to obtain something in this world that is worldly and
temporal?
9 times out of 10, that's monetary. It's because you wanted some form of monetary gain. Other than that, the only type of gain that usually people go for is an egotistical gain, where they want to prove that they're more powerful than somebody, or they had power over that person. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, I see it purely based off of greed. So I like to ask everybody this question. It's kind of like one of the questions I start off with, and then from here it can go a million different places. But I always like to get this question out, because people like yourself who are connected, I feel that it's been a long journey, I'm sure, for you to get to this spiritual place that you are in life.
Yeah.
And when I started this journey, there was a question that was asked to me that was so deep. And now, like I said, I ask this question to everybody, and I always tell the answer that I said, because to me it was a very meaningful answer, and everybody knows the answer to this question. Hey girls, why don't you draw like I'd asked, instead of just kind of sitting there?
Because it's so hard.
Well, all right, you can sit there if you like, but I'd prefer it if you draw. Up to you though. So I ask everybody this question because this question was asked to me, and it was something that changed my life. And that question was, what percentage of yourself have you given over to God?
I remember that question.
I might have asked it to you before. I can't remember if I did or if I didn't. But I like to document it, almost, for lack of better words here, with the podcast we're doing.
Right.
because
And when you asked me, like my first thought was, of course, I'm giving 100%. But as I looked within my heart deeper, I had to say it's probably more around 90%.
that's a very honest and amazing place to be at 90%. I think that's one of the most divine numbers out there. And it's humble too. It means you're close, but like you said, I think in our hearts we all want to say 100. And that's why I don't like putting that on the board, because I don't want people to say, oh, he's at 100, he's at this 100, and that means I just got to say 100, because I don't want to say a number that I'm, I don't want to be different. Or,
Right.
So I think sometimes I don't even like showing people that, and I tell them the number that I started at, not the number I am today, because I started at 33. And I tell people that it's been a long, hard road to get to 100. And every now and then I tell people I fall back from 100 to 95, let's call it, and I'll fluctuate in between there, because I'm still human at the end of the day. I wish I could say I was perfect, I wish I could say 100% of the time I do everything right, but I am human, and I've also realized that there's this crazy thing in life called forgiveness, right? And that
Grace.
Forgiveness is for human mistakes, man mistakes, things that I am not guilty. I still get greedy every now and then, and I have to keep myself in check. I'm way better than I was at 28, when my greed was insatiable, right? That's when I'm so greedy, I'll kill somebody if I have to get it. I don't care. That's the level of greed that's like, where you're doomed, you're destined for a life of eternal pain at that point, because there's no way you could justify that to God. There was a time in my life where I didn't mind hurting people, and some of it too was ego, right? Where I just wanted to prove I was bigger and badder than somebody else, or I was stronger, or I could punk this dude, or I could, and then I go home and I think about it and be like, damn, I was kind of messed up. I shouldn't have done that. I made that dude look stupid. Or sometimes it's for a girl, and I think a girl falls into ego too, because that's my ego. I just want to look like I'm bigger and badder than this dude over here, make him look stupid in front of this girl, so she, gets with me at the end of the day.
Right.
So a lot of me has been adjusting who I am, checking my ego, checking my greed, making sure that I'm always looking to God for approval of every decision. And what I love doing is showing people, look, I feel that the life's goal should be trying to obtain 100. I'm still trying to obtain 100. To me, it's like a perfect game of golf, a perfect bowling, like who isn't trying to get to 300? Why are you playing? And I'm sure there's bowlers professionals that have never hit the perfect game, right? There's golfers that have, nobody's hit even Tiger Woods. I don't know if you ever see this. I've been watching a lot of Tiger Woods lately. I swear, maybe, and this is my ego talking right now, sometimes I'll be like, man, I feel like I could be better than Tiger Woods. Like, I just watched this dude. He does some amazing shots, but I've also seen him hit some shit where I'm like, you ever see an NBA dude airball and you're like, bro, I'm not in the NBA. I've shot a lot of free throws in my life.
But I think
I've never airballed a free throw. That's just me, Ian, right? Like, now, maybe I'm looking at it like, well, maybe this NBA guy shot a lot more free throws than you have. So, and you've never been on a worldwide, in front of millions of people. So maybe the nerves, all these different combination of things, you're gonna airball, But every time I see someone airball a free throw, I'm like, I'm just saying, for me personally, I've never done that. But again, it's a lot different shooting around in a gym at 24-hour fitness versus shooting in front of a million people on TV, But I don't know. I always think that's kind of funny how, you take these people that you think are professionals and really good at stuff. I was just watching this thing where it showed Tiger as like the worst shots Tiger's ever made. And you're just watching this and you're like, damn, this dude's a pro. Like, he shanked the fuck out of that ball. Like, what the heck? That didn't even look like he knew how to play golf. But anyway,
everybody has their day. I guess.
everybody has a bad shot, right? And that's what I say. That's why I tell people, even with me, I don't hold myself to some crazy standard being chief priest-a-roo. You know, I wish I could say I was perfect and every little decision I made didn't have my ego or greed involved, but I'm a human being. So what I try to teach people is humility and showing that you have to recognize these mistakes that you're making. If you just glaze over it and think to yourself, I don't have to humble myself and show God that I am asking for forgiveness for that mistake, recognizing that mistake, and I think the most important thing is not making that mistake again.
Right.
Because it's not a game. It's not like I see people do these Hail Mary. I'm like, dude, you think that you could just, every time you do something, you just do this and you
That's
could
the
just,
the easy, the easy
that's
button.
the easy fix right there.
The easy button.
It's like, God is judging you, bro. Like, God is watching. He doesn't want you to keep doing this. You know, that's supposed to be in case of emergency. Not every damn, like, oh, I could just be a bad person and all I gotta do is this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like praying for forgiveness for my sins. I say that if I mess up, I can't keep making the same mistake over and over and over. Keep going back and praying for forgiveness and being like, hey, God, keep forgiving me. No, God's gonna be like, hey, bro, you're playing a game and you need to fucking stop.
It's intentional.
This is intentional, and I'm gonna punish you because I have that much power, and I'm gonna punish you with bad karma. And guess what? Now all this bad stuff that's happening in your life, you're gonna sit there and wonder why it's happened. And that's why I think I get so much more closer to God every day, because every day God gives me better karma and a better life, and like I just keep seeing it get better and better the more good that I do. And I really tell people this when it came to spirituality with me, I tested it a lot. So I test everything. I don't know why I have 30 days as my number, you know, even though I did the 11 day. I'm surprised I didn't do the 30-day sacrifice, but I almost did the 30-day sacrifice, but I knew if I did the 30-day sacrifice, I would never get anybody to do it with me. I was like, bro, it's hard to get people to stop doing stuff for 11 days. If I said stop for 30, they would be like, dude, get in. I probably wouldn't have one follower. I wouldn't have one. I'd be doing the 30-day sacrifice by myself.
Yeah.
So I laugh about that because, yeah, it's just 11 days, but it's a hard 11 days, as you know. Yeah. And what's crazy to me is when, back to this point that I wanted to make, back to this little pamphlet that I made. And I made that pamphlet like 3 years ago, and I always trip out because there's times, like I said, when someone crumples it up and throws it away, and I'm watching them, it kind of hurts my feelings, you know, because I'm like, ouch, you know, like that was supposed to be something that I thought someone would be like, hey, this is awesome, you know, this person crumpled it up and threw it away, and it kind of hurts, you know, because you're like, oh man, I'm trying to do something good for the world, and here I am trying to do this thing good, and someone's not appreciating it. Hey, quiet. And gosh, every time this dog barks, I totally lose my train of thought. This is why I'm gonna start leaving him at home. This is why, because I don't want to lose my train of thought every time he barks. All right, what was I talking about?
So you're talking about the pamphlet you put out and people disrespecting,
thank you.
balling it up.
So it's weird because what I was gonna get back to is how he and I met, which is I get this random call, I think it was, and it was like, hey, tell me about this 11-day sacrifice that you do, you know. And I think that what was weird is you took that pamphlet and then you went over to the CBD store And then Neeraj, my employee at the time, did he see you holding it and say something, or how did that transpire?
No, the whole day, like I mentioned when I wrote it, it was magical, because the night before I was having, I guess, what I would call transformative experiences, where you kind of know that things are lining up a certain way. That night the moon looked funny. It was just that certain vibration.
Right.
And then I go out on the town with my wife and my daughter, and we stop at the pizza place. And it's like instantly my eyes are drawn to this. What is that right there? I don't know. First thing I'm thinking, oh, somebody's trying to sell there or whatever. And I look at it, it's like, oh, well, first I gotta turn it. It's like, okay, well, maybe they weren't paying that much attention to get it printed the right way. And then I start reading it. I'm like, well, this is the stuff I've been working on with connection all the time, realizing that, you know, all of this is connected, everything's connected, and trying to explain to other people, like, you're saying your religion is just one way and that's the only way, and I'm telling them that's like saying, oh, there's only one way to get from Sacramento to Oakland, and you have to go that way. And it's like,
that's a great analogy.
Dude,
Real quickly, I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back in 2 seconds.